Hello everyone, Ross the music teacher here. Today I'm going to show you how to play Fernando Sor's Opus 60 number 1. In a moment I'm going to play it for you so that you can hear it. It's very beautiful and it's pretty simple, so it's a really great piece to get you started. Now if you want the sheet music, I have this featured in my book by Fundamental Changes, or published through Fundamental Changes, the beginner classical guitar method, or the dojo members of course can download this off the members area of my website. If you want the tablature, you're going to have to buy the book. I don't give tablature out to the dojo members. So without further ado, let's start playing through this pretty little piece, and then I'm going to show you how to play it so that you can play it for those that you love. All right, guys, let's take a look at how to play the first line here. Bring it up on my screen so I can read it. After I show you how to play this, stick around. The video doesn't end there. We're going to talk about the music theory involved, too. So the first couple things to notice about this is we're in common time, giving us 4 beats per measure. Also, we're in the key of C major. There are no accidentals here. So our scale being used is the C scale. We're also, in this piece at certain points, we're going to be borrowing from other scales. This is Fernando Sor, so even though this is a fairly easy piece to play, the depth of musicality here is pretty deep. Fernando Sor was just a gift to guitar. So let's start by just going through this first line. I'm going to describe the rhythm that we're using, and I'm going to show you where to place your fingers, and we're going to take a look at the right hand as well. So starting with the left hand of the first line, we have a half note for C, which is first fret of the beat, meaning we're going to have 2 beats, right? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So the next 2 notes, we have open B and open G, right? And that same measure repeats twice. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's a fairly common thing for composers of this era to do, is to give you a musical statement and then repeat it verbatim right after. After that, we start going up in the C major scale. So we get C, first fret of the B, and then D, 3rd fret, open high E, and then 3rd fret of the high E for that G. After that, we go back down to F, and then E, D, and open G again, right? So we get that F, by the way, is first fret of the high E, and of course D, 3rd fret of the B. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so let's take a look at the right hand for this line. All right, guys, we're taking a look at the first line for the left hand. We start off with middle, then we do index, thumb. So middle, index on your B string, and then thumb on the G, right? And then we do the same thing again. Thumb, 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 thumb. Then we get middle, index, middle, index, and then ring, middle, index, thumb. Now that's a little bit trickier. So we get middle on your B, middle on your B, index on the B, middle on the high E, index on the high E, and then we're gonna go thumb, middle, or sorry, not thumb, ring, rather, then middle, index, right? So if you notice that that's a nice way to cross the string. Ring, middle, index, and then thumb again for the G. All right, so we're looking at line 2 for the left hand. You'll see that we start off with the first measure again. So we've already looked at that. Then we get C, open high E, D, 3rd fret of the B, open B, then A, C, which is second fret of the G, first fret of the B, open D, F sharp. This is one of our borrowed notes. If you stick around in the video, I'm going to show you where he's borrowing this from. And then G, we're going to get our open D, G, and B at the same time, and then our low G. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, rest. The rest is really important. Oftentimes those get overlooked, but guys, we got to play the rest. It gives us a kind of a conclusion of that section. So of course, repeat this first section twice. Then we're going to move on to the second half, which the second half of this piece, guys, is probably one of my favorite things ever. All right, so the second line, we're doing the right hand. Again, it starts with middle, index, thumb. And then we get index on the B, middle, and then index, middle, index, middle, thumb, middle, ring, thumb, index, middle, thumb. All right, let's take a look at one of my favorite things ever in music. I know it's weird for me to say, you know, this is one of my favorite things ever because it is a very simple melody, but I just find this to be so delightful. The second half of this piece, this is one of the reasons why I show a lot of my beginning students this, because it's just so pretty, right? So we're going to run through the left hand and then the right hand as per usual. So we start off with our G, third fret of the high E with our pinky, and then we go to open G, open E, and then that G again, and down to F. Then open G, and then D, third fret of the B, and then first fret of the high E again for F, and then open E. Open G again, C, E, and then we get D, B, G, F. And that F is a really special note because it ends up going down to C on the next line. So that last bit, we have our open G. F is the third fret of your D. So if we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And I ended on an E, which is the first note of the next line, just because I don't like to leave that F hanging. So let's take a look at the right hand for this line, and then we're going to move on to the last line and then talk about some music. All right, guys, let's take a look at right hand line 3. So we're going to get our middle on the high E, thumb, then index, middle, both on the high E, and then ring again on the high E, thumb, index, middle, ring, thumb, index, middle, and then index, thumb, and on the next line we're going to start with another thumb, right? So you're going to get 2 thumbs in a row. All right, guys, last line, we're going to take a look at the left hand and the right hand. So we're starting off with the second fret of the D string for that E. So we get E, open G, and then C, first fret of the B. And then E again, and then we're going to go to F, third fret, A, open D, F again, E, second fret, open G, and then third fret of the low E for that low G, and then B, second fret of the A, and then we're going to get our third fret of the A here for the C, open G, then first fret of the B for those 3 notes stacked. So open G, first fret of the B, open high E, and then that low note again. So what we get is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, rest. And of course, don't forget those rests. So let's take a look at the right hand. All right, let's finish up with line 4 of the right hand. I'm going to talk a little bit about the music theory involved here. So we get thumb, index, middle, thumb, thumb, index, thumb, 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 index, thumb, 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 index, middle, ring, and thumb. Right, so there's a lot of thumb on this one. All right, guys, so now that you've had a chance to learn how to play this wonderful little piece, we're going to take a look at the music theory behind it. And anybody that follows me understands that I think it is the most important thing to try and understand the things that you're playing so that you can play them with more emotion, more understanding, and more importantly, if you want to write your own thing and allow other people to influence you, that is the way, to try and understand everything that you play. I want to take a moment to invite you to join the Fretboard Dojo. That's my group of donors. You can donate anywhere from $2 to $25 a month to download all the PDFs that I produce, including the ones for my awesome morning show, Musical Mornings, which air every Tuesday and Thursday. We go through sight reading, music theory, composition, etc. So, guys, let's take a look at how this one was built. And by all means, please, please join the Fretboard Dojo. Help keep this channel running. The people that are a part of the Fretboard Dojo, thanks for your continued support. I seriously love you guys. Anyhow, let's get on with it. The first thing to know about this piece is that we're in the key of C major. So you'll see the C major scale pop up on the screen above with its scale degrees above it. If you don't know how to derive scales, or if you don't know about scale degrees, please check out the hour-long music theory video that you can find right on the front page of my channel. That'll fill in the information that you need to know to get the most out of this lesson. So to start, we have a small progression in the first two measures, where the first note they give us is C, and then the next two outline the 5 chord, our G, B, leaving the D out of the equation. This gives us the progression 1, 5, 1, 5. Next, you'll see that we move forward in the scale. Now, what we really have here is an outline of the 1 chord. If you look, we have C, and then the D is what's called a passing tone, and we have E and G outlining C major, our 1 chord. And then next, the same type of thing happens, but we're outlining the 5/7 chord. So F, and then the E is a passing tone, then D belongs to our 5 chord as well, and then G, the root of that 5 chord. And our 5/7 chord, of course, is G, B, D, F, and he's left the B out of this chord. It's not super uncommon to leave certain notes out of chord spellings. On the next line, the first measure is the same as the very first measure of the piece, so that's 1 and 5. After that, we have C and E outlining the 1, and D and B outlining 7 diminished. And then we get something very interesting. We get our first borrowed tone. Now, if we take a moment to think about the key of G major, we know that we have an F sharp. So that A, C, D, and F sharp is actually making a D7 chord. In this case, we would call it a 5/7 of 5. Now, anytime you have a 5/7 of something, it's very, very likely that that 5/7 of whichever chord is going to resolve to that chord. And if we look at the last measure, that does give us our 5 chord, G, B, D. So we have 1, 5, 1, 7, 5 of 5, then 5. And the next section is going to start on our 5 chord, which is very common from music of this time period. Next, we start with 2 G's at an octave, giving us our 5. And then we're going to start a bit of a sequence downwards. So the E to G, those are thirds. That's our 3. So we go E, a third up to G, and then down to F. And that lower G next after the F is a bass note, our pedal point. So we get G and then D, F again. So we're going to label this as our 5/7. And that F moves down again in the same sequence to E, G, C, E. That's our 1, but it's in what's called second inversion. And after that, we have another 5/7, and this one is in third inversion. You'll see the inversion numbers, figured bass numbers, 6, 4 next to the 1, and the 2 next to the 5, and those denote the intervallic structure of the chords. Check out Music Theory in One Lesson if you need more information on that. Next, we have a 1, then we move to F and A. That's going to imply our 4. D and F, that implies our 2. E and G, that's thirds on the way up. That's going to imply our 3. And then we get G and B, our 5. And finally, back to our 1, the C major chord. I want to thank you guys very much for watching today. I hope that this piece helps you along your path to become a classical guitarist, or just a better guitarist, or even, you know, a composer, whatever path this helps you down. I really hope that it has been a genuinely helpful thing for you. Now, if you're the type of person that wants to binge on my videos, please do it. I have so many videos, and I'm going to be putting a lot more up. Now, if you guys want to return the favor to me, which please do, of course, you can become a dojo member, or at the very least, you can share my videos and hit the subscribe button. Dojo members, I have some really special stuff coming up for you, so get on board early. I think I have about 25 now. Once we get that number up a little higher, there's going to be even more time for me to put in to this channel. So guys, join away, and don't forget to subscribe. Have a lot of fun. Definitely do not forget to subscribe and like this video.